The gymnast. I've always been flexible. Well, physically not so much with age, but flexible in situations has never been a problem. My STBX fought me on a 50-50th custody agreement, one in which I agreed to. Our original agreement was for a 65-35 split, which gave him every other weekend plus a few dinner-time visits in between. For someone who has never been an active father, this should have been enough. Apparently now he thinks he's super dad, and wishes to take the lead. This would have been helpful years ago, but better late than never. He contacts me the other day telling me he will be picking up the kids for 2 overnights this week. Mind you, he is supposed to have the kids 2 days on 1 week and then 5 days the next week. I tell him that he can have the kids over the weekend as well. This is when he tells me he has several work trips and personal trip to see his girlfriend coming up, so he needs me to be flexible with the visits. Flexible? I thought you were I need to see my kids more, Dad now. The dad who needed more time, and less time, and child support for me, with his children. Where did that guy go? The month of April he has had the kids for 8 nights total. And when I mention this isn't 50-50, it's I'm the bad guy, and need to be understanding to his work and personal life. Excuse me, I have work and a personal life too. Well, not really a personal life, but I hope to soon. Why do I have to be flexible to you, and you aren't to me? I told him I offered him the 65-35 split that would allow him more free time for work, pleasure, and he didn't want it. He said I was steamrolling him into taking that agreement, and he wasn't happy with the time he'd have with the kids. Touched that he wanted more time with the kids. I agreed to this, and now that it's in black and white, I have to have the kids more and receive less child support because you can't keep up with the deal you wanted. I think in all honesty it wasn't about seeing his kids, it was about not giving me what I asked for. He says I rely too much on our agreement, and that it's just a guideline. We don't need to live and die by it. But I think we do. It's a legal document about our children and our assets. So if we don't live and die by it, will you stop paying child support? Or maybe decide that you want things that are mine? It's just a piece of paper, right? For a man who lead a double life, had an affair, has a girlfriend, and wanted out of this house, he sure doesn't seem to want to face the reality of what a divorce actually is. So if he doesn't take the kids for his 50-50th visits, what are my options? Start this process again with another agreement. Take him to court. I think perhaps my best option is to not be flexible, and when the numbers don't add up we go back to court. I don't see any other option. Transparency. This past weekend was Mother's Day. It was a strange day this year, but still oddly more enjoyable than previous years. My STBX has been taking the kids on the schedule I created, and so far, no issues. He has yet to pay me any child support, but I will give him till the 15th till I make a stink about that. The boys were with him over the weekend, but he returned them on Sunday so I could spend the day with them. I asked him while he was here if he called his grandmother yet. His grandmother is the only family, besides his equally unfaithful father, that he speaks to. He told me he spoke to her, and that he told her that we have separated. I was shocked. This was a big one. I knew it would be hard to tell her, and the news would give her a heart attack. He said she was upset and shared some of their conversation with me. He told me he did not tell her why we split, only that we had. While not the whole truth, I was happy to see that he took this tough step. Fast forward a few hours later, his mother calls me. Her and I have a fairly good relationship, but my STBX is holding a grudge over things from the past, and refuses to speak to her. I had asked if she heard the news from her mother. She was confused. Well, it turns out it was all a lie. He never told his grandmother. The conversation he said he had was never actually had. I speak to his sister as well, and find out after 13 years together, that this run away with a girl who'll give me more attention is his mo. She told me that before me, he lied to his girlfriend for years that he was going to spend time with his dad, and it turns out he went away for the weekend with another girl. Now ain't that some shit? My lawyer will be serving him the divorce papers next week. When I told him for the second time that I was hiring a lawyer to do that papers and did not want us to do them ourselves. He got angry. He accused me of wanting to try something shady. No, sir. You have been shady enough for the both of us. When I reminded him that I've already brought this up to him, and that I have been getting quotes from lawyers, he accused me of not being transparent. You're kidding, right? He will always be the victim, never wrong and always right. The breakdown. My STBX had the children this past Friday, Saturday, and then again Monday, Wednesday. I went to pick them up today after work, and that's when it happened. The breakdown. My STBX started to cry. He lost it. Apparently, for the past 3 days all our children did was ask to go home. They cried and constantly asked, how long? He tried to tell them that this was their home as well, but they wouldn't hear of it. Now part of me feels badly. It must be terrible to have your children reject you. But on the flip side, he's never been the parent he is now. He takes them places, plays with them, reads to them, bathes them, etc. I don't think he understands that you can't just flip a switch with these kids, and they will gravitate towards you. I know he is trying, and I appreciate that. But it's too little too late. I have tried to be supportive, and understand them having a father is important, but I honestly don't think they want him. Again, they are both under 10 and young. They don't fully understand. My oldest asked me on the ride home if they could never go back. When I explained that we are both parents, love them, and want to spend equal time with them, both children protested. I think my STBX realizes this is too little, too late. He is regretful. I don't know how to make this situation easier for everyone, but honestly, it's not my problem to solve. I asked him to take a 35/65 split, but he rejected it, saying it wasn't enough time with the children. My suggestion of that split wasn't about me wanting more. It was about what I thought our children could handle. He just wanted to win and get me to convert to a 50/50th split. Welp, you won. Here it is. How's that working out for you? Maybe if you would have thought about what was best for them, and not defeating me, maybe this would have ended differently. A summer situation. After his breakdown, I didn't contact him for a while. I knew he needed time to cool off, and if I talked to him for any reason, I was afraid he would get angry with me, or even worse, confide in me. I wanted neither. So when I finally did need to speak to him, he told me, we need to figure out what we are going to do this summer. What are we doing? We are doing nothing. I was confused. He told me it's going to be impossible for him to handle the kids during the summer while he is working. He said he was barely holding on by a thread, as it is now. This isn't a problem we faced in the past, as I'm a teacher and off all summer, so I handle the kids 100% during summer months. I don't think he took the summer into consideration when he demanded 50/50th physical custody. So his suggestion was to enroll the children in a camp when he has them. A camp. So you want to enroll our children in a camp from 8/6 on the days you have them. How is that spending time with them? So, my suggestion was, let's do the 35/65 split for July and August, and he can have the kids weekends and see them in the evening whenever he wants. He was furious. It's always about custody with you, he said. Wait. This isn't about custody. You just said you can't handle them. I'm offering to give up the first real summer vacation I've ever had to keep them to help you, and I'm the bad guy here. Make this make sense. He claims the kids need to socialize. In the past 9 years, he has never cared if the children socialized, but now it's a big deal. This was the man who rolled his eyes and complained about having to go to a kid's birthday party for 3 hours. So I left it alone. Let him sit on the thought for a bit. A few days later, to be proactive, I sent him information about summer camps along with price lists. It would cost between $250 $350 a week for camp. The camps I found are only for 5 weeks, leaving most of August, without child care for him. How does this help? How is this spending time with the kids? Putting our children in an expensive weekly camp during COVID, just so you can give them dinner, bath, and put them to bed doesn't help them or your relationship with them. My family owns a house by the beach. I will be down there most of the summer with kids. When I'm home, we have friends we can visit, and at least we have a yard at our house for the children to play in. The children will be happy. Socialize with family and friends, and most importantly, be safer with me than in a camp. Lastly, I will add that he has yet to pay me child support for April and May. He moved out in March, took the kids for 8 overnights in April, it should have been 15, and has yet to give me a dime for April and May, but he can afford almost $1,300 in camp fees, just to have his custody. Even more proof that his actions are not about what's best for the kids. It's just a competition with me. Again, make this make sense. Get the papers. The papers. I'm officially in the court system, with a docket number and everything. It on its way to becoming official, and I am elated. My STBX does not seem that excited. This past weekend he flew out to her state, and attended a family wedding as her guest. I'm happy they are taking these steps as a couple, because if they are happy he will move, and the farther away he is the better. When he returned he was now excited about the divorce, asking me when the lawyer would send him paperwork to sign and what the timeline was moving forward. He was on cloud 9 after his vacation, and wished to hurry the process up. The day he was having his share of paperwork notarized was also the day I was going to pick up the children from him. When I got there he was short with me. I could tell he was on the verge of a panic attack. He hurried us away, and then texted me later explaining he in fact was in the beginning stages of a panic attack. But why? He told me he was feeling overwhelmed. Between the kids, work, managing a household and maintaining a social life, he felt burnt out. Wow. This sounds oddly familiar. This was my story for the past 10 years. The reason I didn't go on date nights as often as he liked was for this exact reason. Part of me felt bad because I know what that feeling is like, but another part of me relished the thought of his struggling and coming to the realization that that was my life and reason for his cheating. So, how should I react? After I took a second to think, I blurted, "Wow, that sucks. I'm taking the kids to the beach this weekend. See you Monday morning, when you pick them up." I decided to give him the support he gave me for 10 years. If anyone knows what movie this post title is from, then you know. You gotta do what your heart tells you to do.